Now that Season 5 of Delta Force has been out for a little bit over a week now, I thought I would give my honest review on the new season, talk about what I like, what I don't like, and my thoughts on where the game is actually going season over season. So starting off with the Cyclone map, I actually think it is pretty good, at least on King of the Hill. On Attack and Defend, I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag for me, and I find it really unfortunate that it's currently only available in like a completely separate playlist, as it makes it very difficult to get full games, and it sucks that you can't get merit on the new Cyclone map. Most games that I do end up playing on Cyclone are maybe half full or less, making the overall experience of the map pretty bad because you really don't get the feel for it, as there are far too few players to be able to consistently get into firefights, and the map is quite large, so you get a pretty dumbed down experience on Cyclone as it stands. I wish they would have just put it in the rotation, let people play graded on it, get merit and all that stuff, rather than putting it only available in a specific playlist, and really people just played it a little bit, then they're like, what, I can't even get merit on this or anything, so they just go back to the regular Attack and Defend or King of the Hill rotations, and then just put on graded and completely forget about Cyclone, which is pretty unfortunate, as I do think the map looks absolutely fantastic, and on King of the Hill, as I said, plays pretty well. Now, talking about maps, Tide Prison, I only played it during the closed preview that was granted to creators. It seemed pretty neat and the premise was interesting. I just don't play Operations, as it isn't really my cup of tea, but I can definitely acknowledge how cool this map feels and looks, with some interesting gameplay variations versus the other Operations maps. If you've played Tide Prison more, let me know what your thoughts about it are in the comment section down below. Moving on to the new operator, Tempest. So she's an okay operator. I think she's definitely slightly worse than the other operators that are available in the Assault class. At least in Warfare, I can see her being much more useful in Operations. I don't necessarily think she needs a buff in terms of abilities, but maybe that the other operators should be toned down, especially Viren and Nox. I 100% believe that Nox's buff was just simply not necessary with the new season that launched, and I firmly believe that using weapons to kill enemies should be the #1 way to actually kill enemies, as opposed to having these abilities that allow you to do damage and kill enemies in pretty large quantities. If you're looking at, like, you know, combining the Crouching Tiger thing with Viren's Magnetic Bomb, or like Luna's Volt Arrow, or even Nox has 2 Whirlwind Discs now that you can throw pretty quickly one after each other, and if you hit the same person twice with it, they're just going to get killed by something that is not a weapon, and that is overall, you know, less skillful, for lack of a better word here, than using actual weapons to kill your enemies. So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag, and I feel like all the operators should have damage dealing abilities toned down a little bit to really put more emphasis on players actually using weapons to kill enemies. Now, talking about the new weapons, this is something that I'm finding increasingly annoying. Even though the compound bow was available from day one, I absolutely hate that they keep weapons locked until mid-season or later, unless you find it in Operations beforehand, which is the only way you can get it in Warfare right now, at least for the KC-17. The compound bow, as I said, you can simply do a mission and unlock it, but the KC-17 is currently locked in Warfare, and the only way you can get it is by finding it in a weapon case in Operations, and a lot of the players just don't want to play in Operations, myself included. And content, as we all know, is pretty slim as it is. Having around 15% of the notable content of locked until a later time feels pretty lame, and just why not just make it available right when the season launches so players can just jump in, have fun with all the new content, rather than having to wait mid-season and all that. Now, obviously, it's probably like marketing things where they want to keep player retention good throughout the season, which is why they time gate certain things like weapons and stuff like that. But I mean, chances are a lot of the people won't be coming back when the KC-17 is available in Warfare. They're just going to play for a few weeks, and then they're going to be like, okay, I've seen everything that I need to see for Season 5 of Delta Force. I'll wait till the next season comes around, and then I'll be able to unlock like the new weapon and stuff like that. So I don't think it's necessarily working in their favor as much as they think it is. Now, the devs also added a few quality of life things, like being able to look at your missions directly in a game via the missions tab in the deploy screen. They also slightly changed the loadout section of weapons. This being said, a lot of the quality of life features have yet to be implemented. The most important one, in my subjective opinion, is the HUD customization options, as the in-game HUD is cluttered beyond belief, and a lot of the times enemies will simply go completely unnoticed because there's some section of the HUD that's completely blocking them off from your actual sight. Victory Unite, as I'm sure you all know, saw quite a few changes, but the game mode is still basically unplayable. When queuing for it, I just sit there for 15 minutes before the queue just cancels itself out. The changes they made to the game mode seem interesting, but clearly nobody is playing it or something is wrong with the matchmaker, which is unfortunate, as I think the game mode itself does have a lot of promise. I think they just need to bring it more in the forefront and not have people need to click in the playlist. Maybe they should redo the main menu and have all the different playlists that are available to play just right there, and then people just queue for either one instead of needing to go into a sub menu and then selecting the playlist you want to queue into, going back and then queuing up for it. It's a lot of useless clicks, and a lot of players simply will just play whatever's there. So if it's AD, then they're just playing AD and they're not going to click on it and go and change it to King of the Hill or whatever it may be, which I think is really hurting Victory Unite and all the other game modes and playlists available. I've also noticed a pretty big degradation in overall match quality with the new season. 90% of the games I've played this season have been an absolute curb stomp for either team, with one of the two teams having as little or less than 200 tickets by the time the game ends and the other team wins. There also seems to be a big uptick in being matched into a game that is already started or well underway, which I absolutely loathe. Every now and again it's fine, but every game it starts to get annoying as you are mostly put on the losing team. I understand that they want to keep players engaged, but I believe that their matchmaking system, be it skill-based or engagement-based, simply isn't working and is making the game feel unfun to play in a lot of scenarios. Regardless whether you are on the winning or losing team, it feels really bad as it just is a lot less fun than having a game that's much more evenly matched. Next, and I'm sure a lot of you will probably agree, the overall performance, both game performance and server performance, seems considerably worse this season. I'm getting much more desync issues in which bullets simply do not register on target, rubber banding, and around 15-ish% less frames in any given map. Now my frames are still pretty good, but I noticed much more severe dips and overall lower frames than before, despite not changing a single thing on my end. Now, I don't know if this performance degradation is due to the various things that they're adding, such as like the collection room and stuff like that, but yeah, performance is getting worse as the seasons go on, and hopefully they manage to address this in a future update, because I would imagine that people with even lower end systems find it difficult to enjoy the game at, stable frame rates. Lastly, but certainly not the least, something that I have to nitpick about and I have to address is the microtransactions and the store. Good God, are they confusing and convoluted. They are adding so many different currencies, tickets, and other stuff every season. I don't even understand how half of them work, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I might be an old curmudgeon and I'm not adapting with the times, but the mobile monetization that they're bringing into Delta Force on the PC version is getting pretty bad. I myself don't really partake in microtransactions much, except for the Battle Pass, which, for the sake of transparency, I have been getting for free for the past few seasons for being a part of the Delta Force Creator Hub. They just really need to chill with the countless currencies and weird events. It's getting a bit much, and the menus are just absolutely packed with like different tabs and notifications that you have to go look at and stuff like that. And you can, recruit recruits to get some weird cards if you unlock all the things that are associated with it. I don't know. It's just too much. They need to tone it down. They need to bring everything into a single menu instead of having all these sub menus. And yeah, just, streamline the overall microtransactions that they do have to offer. I know the whole point of it is to make it overly confusing to get people to buy Delta coins or whatever the currency is called, the premium currency, and then transfer those over into all the other currencies or stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just not jiving with it at all. So overall, I think the maps this season were pretty solid, but as a whole, I'm somewhat disappointed with Season 5 of Delta Force. I recognize that they're probably pretty busy with the impending console launch on August 19th, but I sincerely believe they need to focus on game health with quality of life fixes throughout seasons, game balance, especially between infantry and vehicles, and just invest resources into things that actually matter and could bring the game to a higher level of polish. I still thoroughly enjoy the game, but the past few days of playing have felt like a chore more than anything else, and that's just really sad. As I said, everybody wants Delta Force to succeed, but currently and as of late, they're making it incredibly difficult for people to really cheer on and support the product as a whole. So that is my honest review of Season 5 of Delta Force. As I said, I love the game. I just want it to succeed. I just think they need to really like hunker down and figure out what they can do to bring the game to the next level, as I mentioned just previously, and just make it more enjoyable for everyone as a whole. Yeah, let me know what you think about Season 5 of Delta Force in the comment section down below. Do you think the game is going in the right direction? Do you think it's somewhat going in the wrong direction? Yeah, leave all that in the comment section. I'll be happy to read and get a discussion going down there. And hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.